this point, I thought that I'd cover the most frequently asked questions that I receive. And I receive these questions every time I do a masterclass, every time I do a live, or every time I do a challenge. I receive these questions every time I speak to people on the phone. And at this point, I've spoken to over 800 people and help them on their renovation journey from wherever wherever their starting place is. So some people are like right at the beginning, they've never renovated before, and other people are investors who've already done one or two projects. So I get to speak to people personally, and then I get to really know what it is that people are wondering about the most. So I thought over the next couple of weeks, I would share the most frequently asked questions. But the number one question I get asked 100% is tax. Is tax. It's all about, does capital gains tax kill profit? It's a really valid question. If there was no tax to renovating for profit or flipping homes, oh man, wouldn't that be joyful? It would be amazing. But we live in a country and we're quite heavily taxed. I really think we are. We're taxed when we earn our money from our employer. We're taxed when we make any benefits from anything we invest that money in, rental income, shares, etc. We are taxed if we move money from a company that's making money into a personal account. Again, we are taxed before we even open up those businesses. So we're a pretty heavily taxed country. In saying that, I really like the fact that we have this amazing medical system. You know, we've got amazing Medicare, and even though we complain about the hospitals being overwhelmed and all that kind of stuff, seriously, we're just so blessed. We are really blessed. So yes, we are going to be making some kind of tax contribution if we make a lot of money off renovating a property. So the main goal, I think, is to make a lot of money from renovating a property, number one, and don't be not doing it or using tax as an excuse to not getting started. So many people will say, oh, I wouldn't do that. They're going to tax you. It's not worth getting started. And I think, wow, you know, if you could make over $100,000 or whatever it is you make from your renovation project, paying tax is going to be a part of that. But it's our job as flippers, as renovators, to minimize the tax that we pay in a legal and an ethical way. So minimize the amount of tax that you pay. You have to align with an amazing accountant. If you've had an accountant all of your life and they're great at doing what they do, which is basically running your books for the tax department and just submitting your returns, if they're not into property themselves, if they don't have clients who have, you know, $20, $30 million portfolios, then you're with the wrong guy. You need a tax accountant who really understands property and who understands what you're going to do. You need to speak to that accountant before you get started, before you go and flip a property, not after, during. It's too late for them to help you out too much if you've already embarked on a project. So definitely go and connect with them before. You need to understand that, yeah, if you're making profit, you're going to be paying tax. It's either going to be capital gains tax, it's going to be GST or company tax. However you're structured will determine the type of tax that you pay. But it's definitely a part of what we do. And honestly, I think that that's fine. I really do think that that's okay because, you know, well, why not? You're making money. You've got to pay your little part. So that's probably the question that I get asked the most is, you know, do we pay tax? And a lot of people would love me to say, oh, you can dodge it this way. I just say, just be ethical, make sure you get the right advice. Number two, where is a good location to buy? Where is a good location? Everyone wants to know the hot spot. But I think if you're thinking about what location to buy, there's a couple of things that you need to consider. The answer is actually the right location for you, wherever's good for you, based on affordability, how much you can actually borrow if you're going to go and do it alone with your own funds, That's probably the most important thing, because that's going to determine what location you can look. That's going to be determine how far away from your own home you can look, as is the amount of DIY you'd like to engage in. So there's no point grabbing a property that takes oodles of DIY. It's going to take hours and hours of DIY if it's a long way away from you and you're unhappy with the travel. If you're okay with the travel, that's fine. So how far are you prepared to travel? How much DIY would you like to do? And do you like to be hands-on or hands-off? If you're hands-off on a project, it opens up the borders. So, you know, it's the right location for you. And it's also the location that ticks all the boxes. It ticks a health check when you're talking about doing due diligence on a suburb. And you really do need to be very, very careful and know what to look for when you're talking about choosing a location. Question number 3, frequently asked questions. Number 3, when is the best time to buy? When's the best time to buy? When to buy? First of all, don't listen to the media. They are in the business of selling articles, of selling stories, of capturing attention. So please don't listen to the media. They will plant doubt in your mind. They're planting doubt in everyone's mind as we speak right now. I think that they're reporting as most often irresponsible and thoughtless about the consequences. And so don't listen to the media. Listen and follow people who are in the investment industry, people who are in the property industry, who know exactly what's happening in the market. Even if things happen, like interest rates go up a little bit, or if the property prices aren't in the same kind of demand as they have been, that's not a bad thing for us. That's a good thing for us because it allows other things to come into our negotiation. For example, you can negotiate and take your time. You can get builders' inspections and negotiate on price according to the result of those inspections. And you can barter and challenge real estate agents about the conditions. So you might be able to get a longer settlement and all those kinds of things. When the property market is really, really hot, everyone says that's the time to buy. Understand that there are advantages and disadvantages to buying in all different times during the market. So like location, I think that the right time to buy, the best time to buy is when it feels right for you and when it suits your purposes. But never sit back quiet because of what the media is telling you. Really examine what's happening. Supply and demand in this country right now is the thing that I would be taking most notice of, and we are desperately undersupplied. All right, so if you'd like to work with me or you want to speak to me about any of these things or book an appointment with me, the best way of doing that right now is to send me a direct message, or you can go to renovateandrealestate.com.au and head to the contact section and pop an inquiry in the little box, and I'll see that come directly to my email and I can organise something. So that's it for today. A nice quickie. Enjoy your day. They're my 3 questions for today. If you'd like me to answer your questions next week, then please just let me know. Bye for now.